Hey guys, welcome back for a video. We're going to be doing the Q&A today. So if you asked a question or if you're curious about any of the responses to some of the questions that were asked, today is your lucky day. I was going to work on some more skyscale videos, but after this week, and as of prioritizing those kinds of videos, I sort of realized that I need to get this Q&A done. Some of these questions were asked about a month ago. Also, about half of you wanted face cam and half of you didn't. So I'm just doing this little corner kind of thing, and hopefully you can ignore my face if that's something you didn't want to see in this video. The first question comes from Faith Soprano, who asks, do you think that joining a guild is necessary in terms of actual gameplay, i.e. not taking the social aspects into consideration? How detrimental would it really be to a player's experience to never join one at all? Well, I'm actually the perfect person to ask this question to because I have joined guilds, but I've been very inactive in those guilds, mostly because they don't really do a ton when I'm playing, but also just because I've kind of played this game solo, just like I played Guild Wars 1 solo outside of a few friends, yada yada yada. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, depending on what you want to play. If you want to play raids, a guild is probably a good idea, or at least a group of people that agree to play together. And even if you're not in a guild together, you're sort of a guild at that point anyway. But outside of raids, there's really not a whole lot that you'd be held back from. There might be some things that are a ton easier if you have a good group of people to do things with, but I don't think it would hold you back. Still, as someone who has played solo, I will tell you that playing with people is much better than playing alone, and playing with people that aren't just random people every time you play is a better experience to playing with random people for, say, fractals or any other kind of content. The next question comes from I am lit, not really sure. What is the best thing to happen to Guild Wars 2 in your opinion? Honestly, just because it was kind of a meme for so long, it's nice that we can now salvage runes and sigils. I don't agree with the entire change in terms of what crafting runes and sigils now is, but in terms of being able to salvage those items, as well as being able to consume keys, basically any of these more recent changes that came into the game that helped with inventory management and turns Guild Wars 2 more into a game than a sit in your inventory for 30 minutes trying to sort through all the items, which it still kind of is, but it's a lot better. The next question comes from John Carlos Coizon, and they ask, what do you think is the ultimate endgame for Guild Wars 2? Well, I gotta say, as far as what the ultimate endgame is for any game, but especially for Guild Wars 2, is going to be up to you. If you want it to be clearing some dungeons, even though they don't really see updates, if you want to see, if you want to play through fractals or raids, if you like that kind of content, then that'll probably be your end game. Some people will be happy enough just to try and track down and complete every achievement in the game. You can also just make it about fashion wars and trying to unlock all the skins in the game, which will kind of play into some of those other forms of content as well. Next, we have Colby in Space. Is it possible, and if so, practical, to make gold from building and selling legendaries? I've actually only got one legendary. Probably not the best person to ask this question, but I will say that a fair bit of gold can be made from playing the trade post, and you typically start off with some lower end items, buying huge quantities of some of the smaller, more common mats. And I suppose the end game of that style of play would be earning enough gold to buy legendaries outright or buy really expensive components for legendaries outright and then selling them when they're a higher price, or buying them. I can't suppose anybody's buying all the legendaries and relisting them like you would with a lesser item, but that said, I really don't think it's the most practical way to go about making gold. However, that is probably where you're going to make the most money at once if they do indeed sell. Next, we have Dark Wolf. What will we do when your engineer is level 80? I don't know, actually. I've been thinking about this a lot because I'm pretty close. I think I'm about 10 or 15 levels away from 80. Not really sure. I do know that I may purchase the expansions for that account and just sort of keep it as a stream account or use it to play through content again. If, say, I was trying to make a skyscale guide and I lost all the footage, so maybe I could just play through on another account real quick. Well, not real quick, but you know what I mean, and get that footage. Outside of that, once I do hit level 80 with the engineer, I will probably start streaming more on my main account, mostly because that's where I already have all the unlocks, like mounts, and I'm geared up for fractals, so on and so forth. I'd probably push the streams more towards playing that kind of content than continuing through the expansions on the engineer, or starting an entirely new character altogether. Of course, the overall goal of that stream on that particular engineer was to kind of test free-to-play all the way to 80 for myself, so the end result of that will be a free-to-play video. But outside of that, your guess is honestly as good as mine. I'm open to suggestions, though. Next, we have White Nun asking, in lieu of Guild Wars 3, what do you think ArenaNet can do to freshen up Guild Wars 2 in terms of both technical, game engine, DirectX, graphical fidelity, and gameplay? Well, I don't think it's any secret that I'm not any kind of developer or software engineer, so I really can't say. I personally think that Guild Wars 2 needs a bit of an overhaul to its engine or something, and I say that because a lot of the content that they put in the game, especially more recently with more of a focus on living world than anything else, are these, we get the meta events. Those are fun, but there are a ton of players, there's a lot going on, there's a lot of skill effects going on, and I think that's the only time I really see my frames truly suffer. Of course, World vs. World falls into that same category. So any kind of performance increase we could get while having that many players would be great. Personally, I just prefer less players on each chart of the map, so it feels a little bit more realistic than like 50 people, 50 heroes and dragon slayers running around. I've made my point clear on how I feel about that kind of content. In terms of gameplay, I've often thought that they could probably do a rework of conditions, boons, and the combo field system that most players probably don't even know about. I just think that it's kind of hidden away in the combat system, and it's something that, unless you have a friend telling you about it, you'll ignore. I don't think I messed around with the combo system at all for the first year I played Guild Wars 2. Until I saw someone just comboing for themselves, giving themselves some might or something, I can't even remember. So making things like that a little bit more visible, or reworking them to be more team-oriented, I think is probably the best way to go. But outside of that, I mean, I'm just a guy. I don't really know what ArenaNet should do. I would like to see a performance increase, but I don't have a really detailed opinion on what they could do exactly. After that, we have Ciao de Castro, and I'm sorry because I probably just butchered that. I'm confused on which MMORPG I should play. Guild Wars 2, ESO, or WoW. So, can you tell me the positive aspects of Guild Wars 2 over other MMOs? This will probably play into a video. Yeah. Okay, I said a lot of nothing here. What makes one game better than another game is subjective based on what you want out of an MMO. So let me tell you how Guild Wars 2 is a little bit different. The base game is free with minimal limitations, there's no sub fee, and while the game does have a cash shop, it's not pay to win. There are 2 expansions that are sold for $30 as opposed to the normal $60, but are often on sale together for $50 total. Guild Wars 2 has one of the most fun combat systems I've ever played in an MMO, as the skills and the system itself are based around action. It offers a dodge roll mechanic allowing you to get out of some tight situations, and if you run out of dodges, a fair few of the abilities in Guild Wars 2 will physically move your character around and can be used outside of combat for mobility. Some of your skills are based off of the weapon you have equipped, and others are handpicked to your liking, and through the trait system you'll be able to enhance or even change the way some of those abilities work. Anytime you're outside of combat, you'll be able to switch your traits and skills as often as you like. Doing this is free and somewhat incentivized, as certain skills are going to be better for certain types of content. Like many MMOs, Guild Wars 2 does have a bit of a gear grind, but rather than grinding higher and higher power levels, you'll instead be swapping your stats whenever new stat combinations become available. Similarly, the game has never and will never increase the level cap above level 80, and this makes the endgame much more about a player's individual skill level than the strength of their gear. It took a few years, but they did eventually add mounts to the game, and rather than those mounts just being different skins with slightly different movement speed, each and every mount is unique in its own way. The game sees fairly regular content updates, and these are of course free, and about 4 to 5 times a year we get something called the Living World that brings in new story and a new map to play on. I hope that helped answer your question, and if it didn't, I do intend to make a video kind of addressing this topic. After that, we have Tobias Ransvik, who asks, what's your opinion about fractals, smiley face? I like them. They're pretty good. I like instanced content, and there's not a ton of that in Guild Wars 2, not multiplayer dungeon-style content. I do think that they could probably change things a little bit, and I'll probably make a video covering what I would change in Fractals like I like to do from time to time. That said, it's probably one of the most accessible pieces of instanced content in all of Guild Wars 2, so once you hit 80, if you're looking for some dungeon-style content, it is kind of a speedrun focused content, but it's still really fun to try and clear. At least your first couple of times through. Once you make it into the daily grind though, things kind of fall away pretty quickly. Alright, so now we've made it to one of two people who asked a ton of questions. I'm going to try and answer these as fast as I can to not bog down the rest of the video. So first up, we have Captain Play Guy, who asks, what's your favorite soda? Probably Coca-Cola or cream soda. Do you have any sort of headcanon for your characters on your account? Basically, not at all. I look at video games as what they are. They are games designed by developers, and the lore and everything in Guild Wars is really cool, but I don't really build little stories for my characters or anything like that. I'm really boring and logical and kind of just straightforward like that. If all animals were horse-sized, which one would you ride into battle? A cat. It would be the Warclaw or something similar to the Warclaw. Your third favorite reptile? Oh man, that's a very specific question, so let me think about that. Probably geckos.
Just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Greatest gaming achievement. I did once get all of the achievements on Xbox in Borderlands, the original Borderlands. That's probably the only time I ever did that. I think that qualifies. That's basically as good as it gets. Favorite pet in real life or in Guild Wars 2? In real life, it's cats. I like cats. Welcome to the internet. In Guild Wars 2, I like my my rock mini pet with the little googly eyes. I think you know what I'm talking about. The pet rock. That's what I'm trying to say. Favorite Pokemon? Bulbasaur. Who is your guild waifu? Character in Guild Wars 2 you would call your waifu. I don't think I have one of those, to be honest with you. What's your favorite elite spec for each class? Well, I haven't played all the elite specializations, so I can't really answer that question. What I will say is, of the ones I've played, I really like Berserker on Warrior. I like Dragon Hunter on Guardian. I like Reaper on Necro. I like Renegade on Revenant. And I like Daredevil on Thief. I think that's all I've played. I think that's it.
And it's hard at the end of the day.
Favorite weapon overall in Guild Wars 2? Probably axe. It's axe. Just because I like that in every fantasy game. Play any instruments? I used to play a ton of guitar. I still mess around with music. Obviously, you guys have heard some of the stuff that I've made. But it's mostly digital now. Maybe I'll play guitar eventually again one day. I'm not amazing at it, but I'm not terrible. I can carry a tune. What other games do you play? I play a game called Risk of Rain 2. I like Vermintide 2. You noticing a pattern? Guild Wars 2. I also like Minecraft. Also, Sea of Thieves is a ton of fun. If you guys haven't played that or picked it up, you can get the Xbox Battle Pass thingy for like $10 a month. Just try it for like a week. This isn't like a paid sponsorship. I just think that the game needs more love. More people should play it. It's awesome. There aren't a ton of rewards, but it's really fun. You know, like video games used to be. They were just challenging and fun, and it wasn't about the... And now we can move on to Ask Ada, who asked several questions as well. As always, I would like to see any pictures you've taken that you would like to show in the video. I'll be showing those throughout this entire video, more than likely. What is your opinion on the Missable Caith, Sun's Refuge? Did you do it? Do you like that kind of content? I have no idea what you're talking about. So after Googling, I can confirm, I have no idea what you're talking about. I just wanted to see if it was something that was obvious that I was just being dumb on, but I'm not sure what you mean by the Missable Caith, Sun's Refuge. I did like Sun's Refuge. If you guys saw the video where I was talking about Sun's Refuge, I obviously wanted that to be a lot more than it was. I do think it's cool that there was an in-game hub for all of the collections for the Jahai Bluffs, but that's really all it ended up being. I thought that there was a lot of missed potential there, but maybe that was them playing around with technology that will eventually become player housing. Next, there is an event in Jahai Bluffs where you see the Joko ? Talk to a few awakened troops. Who is this, and can you actually do this event to kill the imposter? I'm guessing you probably played this event and you know the answer to this already. That said, I don't know a ton about this. I do know the event you're speaking of. There's a person claiming to be Palawa Joko shortly after some events that should not make that possible. And so, yeah, you basically fight that person, but I don't think you actually kill them, as far as I know. Also, I don't know who at all that is. I don't think it's been a while since I've completed that event. Anyone can answer that question down in the comments below, just because I'm curious. Next, also in Jahai Bluffs, there's an event to help Zaya the Radiant, and says you can bottle a gin and not get hit by the branded lightning strikes anymore. The event gives a tonic. My question is, if you use the tonic, are you immune to the lightning strikes? I do remember an event with a gin, with Venmin? Something like that. That was part of a collection. I'm guessing you're talking about a collection item? I do remember a bit of the dialogue saying that we needed to capture Venmin in a bottle to kind of end his reign of terror. He had escaped, but that's about all I remember. As far as if we could consume that tonic, would it make us immune to lightning strikes? Probably, but we won't be able to do that because that would just destroy like several maps worth of mechanics that you have to look out for. Can you make a video that does a summary of your videos, like a channel introduction to all of your series? I bet there are new players who don't know all the videos you have. I would agree with there. There are definitely a lot of people in the comments who say, oh, I didn't know you did a video on this, that, and the other. Maybe I should do a video like that. At the very least, I have been thinking of doing some sort of autoplay introduction video for my channel explaining exactly what this channel is all about, and maybe I could include some examples of the types of videos I usually do to cue people in as to what they can expect. I could probably just be a better YouTuber all over. I'm just not trying to do the YouTube thing that everybody else does where I'm like, well, hey guys, you can like and subscribe, and also I did this, that, and the other. Like, if I tell you to watch another video, it's because I think it'll be helpful. That's pretty much it. Yeah. But alright guys, that's basically all the questions that I got, both on the video that I posted a while back, as well as a poll card I did just to make sure we got some more questions for this video. If there are other questions you'd like answered, I stream every Friday, and that's basically your time to come in and ask me anything anyway. That is 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time, so that won't be for everyone. Also, you could ask me in the comments of this video, and as long as it's nothing too detailed, I'll try to get to each one of those and answer those for you. Of course, thank you all for your support. Thank you for asking these questions and giving me something to look forward to. Making these videos is always a really fun time, depending on how weird the questions get. But yeah, thank you for the 8,000, almost 9,000 subs as of recording this video. By the end of the year, we very well may hit 10K, and you guys gave me some fantastic suggestions for what to do with that. I'm still working out what I'll actually do, but when I do make up my mind, hopefully sooner than later, as we are approaching that milestone, I'll post a video and we'll see what you guys think. But yeah, guys, as always, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me awkwardly answer these questions. I'll see you in the next one.